Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another VoD review. Today we have a Diamond May. Before we start, I just want to say, if anybody wants a VoD review, join the Discord in the description, or leave a comment in the comment section down below. With all that being said, let's just hop right into the VoD review. Looking at the enemy team, they're running Rhine Hog. Now, versing Hog, May is great versing Hog. That's just both of your abilities shut down his hook. Your left click shuts down his take a breather. It's just overall a good good counter for Hog. And if you're versing Rhine, he doesn't have Zarya. Any freeze you get in him is gonna fuck him. He's not gonna get bubbled. Bubble completely wipes off freeze, but since they're running Hog, they don't have that bubble. You can kind of just bully their tanks here. Let's see where you end up playing. I would be careful taking this duel. I don't see really much reason to. Widow can one-shot you. You can't one-shot her. I mean, I guess you have a Mercy, so, like, having that Mercy, if you get picked, you'll get res, so it's not that big of a deal. But right here, you're in a rough position, and you're half HP. You know you don't have a shield tank. If you're going to retreat, you're going to end up retreating back here, and then all this time retreating back to safety, that's, like, probably 5-10 seconds out of the fight. If you're May, you should really play around chokes. So the chokes on this map isn't this. The choke on this map is here in between these two buildings and this bridge and everything. Like, think about it. Your wall perfectly cuts off the choke. So, you know, if the Rhine pushes past here, you get the wall behind the Rhine. Your team has a 6v1 versus the Reinhardt. He can't get healed. He can't get help from his team. But you kind of play past the choke and put yourself in a really dangerous position. Let's see if see how you get out. You do have wall to get you out, so that's fine. Careful for the Widow. You know she's top right, and you're kind of playing not in her LOS necessarily, because, you know, there's that little bit right next to her. But you're in LOS of so many enemies right now, and you're not accomplishing much. So, when is it okay to be in the LOS of so many enemies? If you're behind a shield. If you had a Rhine shield here, a Sigma shield, a Risa shield, whatever. If you had somebody else taking this space with you, they would make the space okay to be in. However, you have a Zen looking at you, a Roadhog looking at you, a Rhine looking at you, and the Widow can look at you if you take one step to the right. So you're just in a really dangerous position, and you do not have to be a contesting card here. This is not your job. You're not a tank. You don't know where your Zarya is right now. You should be playing behind her. You shouldn't be playing in front of her. Until you see an opportunity, until you see maybe a Roadhog overextends, and then you get bubbled, and you push up ahead, sure. But you're playing in front of your Zarya a lot of the time here. So let's see where this wall went. I'm sorry. I lost track. That's just a useless wall. You're gonna get, I don't know if you're trying to save Roadhog or what, but you'll get much more value out of walls if you use them in the choke. Like I said, if the enemy pushes past the wall, they're gonna be separated, and they're essentially gonna be in a one, not literally a 1v6, but it's gonna be a 1 versus maybe 3, 4, whoever's on the other side of the wall for your team, and they're gonna have no heals, they're gonna have no protection from the team. So far, that is one of your biggest. I don't think I've seen you. Okay, so you're on console. I understand. If I say left click, that means the freezy spray. Your R2, your right trigger. If I say left click, that's what I mean. But yeah, I don't think I've seen you use your freeze spray at all. Which, I mean, if you're playing May, you better be using that shit, or else you better be playing fucking what's it called? Or else you better be playing McCree. This is fine. Just you're very unaware of where the enemy tanks are, and that Hog could fuck you. So that I was kind of happy with that, and then I realized you don't have ice block, and your team is kind of like there's a whole big LOS in between where you're gonna get shot by an Ana, by a Zen, by a Widow. So you really need to just play with your team here. You're playing really far past them. So think of it this way: even if your tanks are bad, let's just assume your tanks are bad. They're giving you all this space here, and then behind the Zarya, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. You're consistently pushing past them. Try to play with your tanks, because think about it. May got a fatty. Anyway, think about it. May doesn't have insane damage. May has great CC. May has great survivability. She has all these things that are great in team play. But you put yourself in these situations where your team can't capitalize on what you're doing. So if you freeze this Hog, no one's going to shoot him. You freeze this Ryan, no one's going to shoot him. But the whole enemy team can shoot you. So your team can't really help you because, you know, there's a big old gap with hella sharpshooters. A McCree, a Widow, a Zenith. There's so many things. So you really need to just play with your team more. Try to play to support your team. Play with your tanks. Maybe wall off a tank. Your team will get aggressive. They'll start panicking. Maybe they'll put their shield down. Maybe they'll turn left and right with their shield. Maybe they'll pop bubbles, depending on whatever tank it is. You start freezing them. Your team will start focusing them. And you'll get a free kill. Like, you just... Hopefully you start playing with your team more. It's just you're separating a lot, looking for these really, really hopeful plays. Now, what might be going through your head for first point is, damn, my Roadhog fed. Nothing I could have done to help him. But because you separate so far ahead of your team was forced to waste resources on you early that they could have used to save Hog. Or the Hog went to save you, or take attention because you went in early, etc. So, like I said, you need to just play with your team way more. This is... You've probably used a total of 1.5 seconds of left clicking, and it's just not. At that point, play McCree. If you're not taking advantage of the wall, if you're not taking advantage of the freeze spray with the infinite fucking cool, infinite CC, just play McCree. There's no reason not to. You'll deal more damage consistently. Your hitbox is a little bigger, and you have less HP, you have less survivability, but you'll have way more damage, and you'll have the instant stun, which is huge. But if you want to play Mei, like you said, you love Mei. You gotta start playing Mei like Mei, not like fucking McCree. Like, I want to see you freezing shit. I want to see you playing with your team. You have a Reinhardt now. Play with your Reinhardt. Get a wall behind their Reinhardt. Start freezing or throw a blizzard at him. Something. Your whole team's dying. Okay, good. It looks like you're regrouping. Maybe? No, God, don't get widowed. Don't get widowed. Don't get widowed. Don't get widowed. Oh, no, get back. Why? There's no reason to push. No reason to push. You're not going to accomplish. No, don't do this. I know this looks good. I wouldn't do this. Oh my God. It ended up working out. I would not have done that. Why wouldn't I have done that? The enemy has 6 people left. The enemy has 6, you have 2. There's no reason to push out. It's very unlikely for you to get that pick. And if you stagger even further, you put yourself at a massive disadvantage, considering the fact that you're the only one in your team with an ultimate, and it's such a high impact ult that will win you a team fight. I would have just waited for my team to respawn maybe 15 seconds ago once I saw the kill feed. Whoops. Like right here, you see Junkrat's dead, Zen's dead, Roadhog's dead. They all just respawned. And he should have killed you here. Luckily he didn't, but yeah. Also, if you freeze somebody, try your best to line up the headshot. Headshot does 150, body shot melee does 105. It's a big difference. Also, the Widow's right there, and you're just walking willy-nilly like she doesn't exist. Maybe this is because you're on console and you haven't learned to respect Widows yet, but if this is a diamond PC Widow, she's taking your head off, 100%. And what can you do to avoid her, or to at least deal with her? You have a few things. You could stay glued to this side, kind of, you know, stay glued over here, and you can still influence this fight. Or you can start throwing right clicks at her. Throwing right clicks at a Widow isn't a bad idea, and here's why. When she's scoped in, she has very slow movement speed compared to someone who isn't scoped in. I'm not sure the exact number, but it's probably around like 50-40% movement speed. So hitting her head is going to be much easier with her scoped in. And the third thing you can do is you can either do the rollout up here, where you go from up here, the shoulder of this thing, to the nose, up here, and then you get to the top. But since you're Mei, you could just simply wall yourself to the top, and then pressure her from up close. And if you're up close, it's going to be much harder for her to deal with you. But what would be the ideal scenario here? You put a wall right here. Ryan can't move back to his healers, and your team can just pin him. So let's see what you end up doing. You end up getting shit on by the Widow. Oh no! Oh no! I mean, like I said, you gotta respect Widows. You're at Diamond. Like, Widows are gonna start being able to hit shots. I don't know how they are on console. I haven't played on console in years, but a Diamond Widow on PC will definitely take your head off from there. Anyway, looks like you're going with your... real quick. Never do that again. If it's an in-between fight, never do that again. Let me teach you. So there's two ways you get up here. Obviously the stairs, but you could go, again, from the shoulder to the nose to here, to up here. Or if you're on this side, you go from the little knee thing to like up here-ish, to this slanted part, and then to the top. It's not really important. Not really something that's gonna make you fucking GM, but like, you know, I figured I might as well mention it since it's a helpful thing on this map. Again, right out in the Widow's LOS. Gotta stop disrespecting her. You have a shield. You have hella walls near you. There's no reason to be taking that fight. No reason to stand out in the open with no cover near you in front of the most dangerous character in the game. At her preferred range, you're killing me. You got a shield to use them. Play with your team. Don't play Mei like a fucking duelist. Play Mei how she's supposed to be played. Play with your team. Look for good wall opportunities. What would be a good wall opportunity? Like I said before, when that Rhine was, you know, pushed down at the bottom, that would have been a good opportunity. A good opportunity. Let's see if one presents itself here. Okay, after this trance, I would look for an ultimate. Let's see what's up with you. Freeze and hog. Okay, happy with this. This is great. You should still be fine. Just don't jump. Oy. So I don't know if this was really the biggest issue here, but please don't jump if you're strafing, if you're in a duel, because it's hard for me to it might not be hard for me to describe. Maybe I could describe this. Let's look at it this way. So let's say you're gonna jump, okay? Let's say you're going this way and you jump. When you jump, you can't go back. When you jump, you're forced to go that way. Whatever way your momentum's going, you're forced to go that way. But if you don't jump, you have the opportunity to go left or right whenever you want to. You feel me? You could always just switch your direction. So that makes you much more shifty, much more harder to hit, because the enemy always has to think, damn, they could always just swap their momentum that way, or swap it that way, or swap it that way. But if you jump for the next half a second, 0.75, 1 second, whatever, you're in the air. They know exactly where you're going to move because your momentum is pulling you that way. So don't jump when you're in a duel. Let's see how you got in this situation pushing the hog. Sorry, I was watching the rest of the fight, so I could try to show you a good opportunity for a wall. I mean, you die with ice block, but like, it is what it is. It happens. I think maybe another big issue there was, say it again, playing without your team. I think we talked and you said your positioning was really bad. I think the super simple tip for you that might help us, careful that Widow, play with your goddamn tanks. You don't do it at all. I haven't seen you try to make a play with your tanks. Maybe once this game? Don't get flashed out. Be careful. Alright. You froze 3, but let me tell you why this was a scary ultimate. So let me roll it back real quick. So generally what you want to do with your ultimate... Okay. Well, first off, I don't know if this McCree has flash. But if he has flash, you don't want to ult right next to him, because you could start the, you know, the... Let me try to describe the fucking cooldown, or the casting process, okay? That's how long that shit takes. So in that amount of time, if he flashes you, you lose your whole ultimate. It doesn't go to the floor, and you're fucked. So don't really ult when you're this close to a McCree who might have flashbang. With all that being said, after you ult, I like the fact that you can get a wall behind the Zen. I mean, almost behind the Zen. You had the right idea, just poorly executed, but you had the right idea. Get the wall behind the Zen. Then you go right for the squishies. Awesome. No, it's like you've been holding on to that ult for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and you've just been dying off cooldown, unable to use it. Let's see. I've been looking at offense or defense for 15 minutes. Let me go to attack real quick. I want to try to help you with attack, Mei, because I think Mei is honestly stronger on attack. A lot of people disagree, but that's just how I feel. It sucks that your team's running these tanks, because these tanks don't really synergize with Mei, but you can still definitely get value. I don't know what your plan is here. Okay, doing I like this. This is creative. I do this on Doomfist. I do this on Wrecking Ball. I don't do this shit on fucking May. That's creativity. I like that. The only thing that sucks is it's pretty loud and enemy might be able to wreck you. And flanking with May doesn't really get you much value because you don't have a lot of burst damage as opposed to something like Doomfist or Soldier, etc. But, creative. Widow, easy kill. Okay, cool. Careful, you're within flashbang range of the McCree, within hook range of the fucking Reinhardt. You're just kind of in the middle of the enemy team. Again, not really playing with your team. Now here, they just gave you a golden opportunity. If you put a wall up right here, you separate Ryan from his Roadhog, from his Zen, I think from his Ana. You just make Ryan all by himself. So, when I'm talking about perfect walls, this is a perfect wall. You separate the enemy Reinhardt from fucking most of his team. And since the wall is basically this size, it's like a perfect seal. He can't get any bubbles, can't get any shots, can't get any orbs from his team on the other side of the wall. Let's see how you end up playing this. Because you know Roadhog doesn't have hook. The more time you give him like a hook back, the more time you give him a hook back, the higher chance he has of killing you. So I don't know why you don't wall off here. You go for the freeze on the Hog instead of walling off Ryan. Oh, that's frustrating. Walling off tanks is the #1 thing that makes a good May. Get that wall right behind the Reinhardt. It's basically like a hook. Because think about what a hook does. A hook separates an enemy from the core of their team, isolates them, and it kind of forces them out of position, right? That's what a wall does. Because think about it. Put the wall behind here. He's isolated from his team. He's not going to be able to get any help, and he has nowhere to retreat to. But he has the attention of 4 or 5 people from your team because they're all playing around your wall. Here, you would have had a Zen, a Ball, and you padding into it with a little bit of Moira damage. You would have killed him. He's Discord. You would have fucked him up. But because you put so much attention into the Hog, you don't really think about walling the Rhine. You still have the opportunity to. Hopefully you do. Nope. So, you missed the golden opportunity. Why is this bad as opposed to walling him here good? Because over here creates a complete seal. Like I said, the wall is basically that wide. So they can't, peek around the left side, peek around the right side to heal him. But because you put this out in the open, enemies can come around here, enemies come around here, and, help them around with the fight. So generally, when there's an enemy in this kind of choke, you want to fuck them up with the wall. So this fight's probably lost. I say start backing up. This is a good poke, though. Just be careful for the hook. Overextending here. You're walking into how many enemies? A ton, and you don't have much backup. Like, you have both heals on you. They're not going to be able to out-heal too much. A few McCree shots, a few Zen shots. The Widow up there will just fuck you up. You're just kind of walking in mindlessly without tanks, and that is never a good thing to do. If you're on May, play with your tanks. Let me emphasize. If you are playing May, play with your tanks. #1 biggest tip, #1 biggest issue I'm seeing from you. You're playing May like McCree, play May like May. Let's see, it's been around 20 minutes. So I think I'm gonna stop. Matter of fact, let's see your next ultimate and then I'll stop after that. You've been holding this bitch for a minute, huh? Let's see what happens. Okay. Great. Very glad I watched that. Great wall. Oh, that's questionable. So your tanks aren't really with you in your ulting. Play with your tanks. I know they're dive tanks, but play with your tanks. Like, you don't have to dive with them, obviously. But once your tanks are going in, you should be going in. And you're taking the attention of all their tanks, you should be backing off, letting your tanks kind of get the attention. Let me stop. Let me give you your 3 biggest issues. #1, playing with your team 100%. Please, 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 please start playing with your tanks. #1. You don't have to follow them 24/7, but if there's a Rhine, a Zarya, a Sigma, and a Rissa, who else is mobile? A Hog. Is there anything else I'm missing? Any mobile tanks? Just play with them. Play near them. They could help you. You could help them. You start left clicking more, which we'll get into that later. You start left clicking them more. Your team can hit easier headshots. Your Zens, your fucking McCrees, your soldiers can start melting shit because you're freezing them. Even your Roadhogs back up, hit them with a fat right click. Freeze is so good for your team, and you're not using it enough. That's number 2. Use freeze way more, please. Like I said, you're playing melee like McCree. You're going for these projectile duels. If you're gonna do that, pick McCree, make it hit scan, make it nice and easy to hit, or pick Hanzo, where you have the chance to one-shot somebody. Don't pick Mei to play like McCree. Utilize wall 100% more. I think that's number 3. Look for wall opportunities. That kind of ties into number 1, which play with your team. You have to look for those wall opportunities when you're with your team. Separate the Reinhardt from his healers. Separate the Reinhardt from his Zarya. Try to look for those perfect seals. Like I said, in this kind of corridor kind of thing, look for those where you kind of perfectly block them off. Let's say imagine Dorado under that bridge, perfectly walls them off. Let's try to give another example. Even here, Ryan pushes up here, you wall off here. Now, sure, they have the high ground, but if they're all playing low ground, which in a rank like this they might be, perfect seal. You get the concept of like perfect seal. The enemies can't go on the left and the right side of the wall to help the Reinhardt who's walled off. All right, so it's been around 20. Okay, one thing I would do want to compliment is your creativity and your reaction time seems pretty good. That's one thing I'm happy with. Oh, another small issue. Don't bunny hop. Like I described before when I went full cam, If you're moving, you jump, all your momentum is stuck for like half a second. But you're if you're strafing, go left and right, left and right, left and right, whenever you want. So, all right. I hope this helped. If anybody has any questions, let me know in the comments. Message me in Discord, whatever. Miku, I'm sure you'll hit me up in Discord. With all that being said, I'm gonna end here, guys. Peace.